In the bustling city of Auba, a long and bitter rivalry had existed for years between two infamous confraternities, the Black Axe and the Supreme Vikings. Their clashes had left deep scars across the city, but none was as devastating as the confrontation that erupted around May this year. Before that fateful clash, whispers had begun to spread about a mysterious new group that had emerged in Auba. They called themselves Black and Black. Unlike the confraternities who fought for supremacy, this group appeared to have a different mission. According to locals, they were known for going after individuals involved in cult activities, especially those believed to be behind killings or violent acts. In a short time, several known members of both the Vikings and the Black Axe were said to have been attacked and taken down. Their activities caused panic among the confraternities, and tension began to rise throughout the city. The chain of events that eventually led to the May conflict started in April, when a well-known member of the Vikings, popularly called Fish, lost his life. The incident hit the Vikings hard. Fish wasn't just any ordinary member, he was popular, fearless, and deeply respected among his group. His death was blamed on members of the Black Axe, and it sparked a burning desire for revenge within the Vikings camp. After Fish's burial, the Vikings began planning a major retaliation against the Black Axe to avenge his death. Meetings were held in secret corners of the city, and messages were passed quietly among trusted members. Their plan was to strike suddenly and send a message that the death of one of their own would never go unanswered. But before their plan could materialize, the unexpected happened. The Black and Black group struck again, this time targeting some members of the Vikings. The attack caught them completely off guard, forcing them to halt their plans for revenge. With some of their members under attack and fear spreading within their ranks, the Vikings had no choice but to go silent and lay low for a while. For a brief period, Auba returned to an uneasy calm. The streets that once echoed with tension became quiet again. People could move freely without fear, and for a moment, it seemed like peace had finally returned. However, beneath that calm surface, anger was still brewing. The Vikings had not forgotten. They still had unfinished business with the Black Axe, and sooner or later, they were determined to settle it. The city of Auba, known for its vibrant energy and restless youth, braced itself once more for what many feared would be another storm. The rivalry between the Black Axe and the Vikings was far from over, it was only waiting for the next spark to ignite it again. The fragile peace in the city of Auba didn't last long. It was shattered one evening when members of the Supreme Vikings reportedly came across a known member of the Black Axe, a young man popularly called Yankee. The encounter happened at a busy area known as Auba Hill, one of the liveliest spots in the city where people often gathered to hang out. On that particular day, witnesses said Yankee appeared to be under the influence of certain substances. He was said to be in a very relaxed, almost unconscious state, barely aware of what was going on around him. Some locals even claimed that he had been sitting with a few of his friends, ironically, some of whom were said to have ties with the Vikings themselves. Those friends, realizing the situation, allegedly informed the Viking strike group that Yankee was at that location and completely unaware of his surroundings. Before long, a small squad of Vikings arrived at the scene. According to multiple sources, they approached quietly, taking advantage of Yankee's vulnerable state. He was quickly taken away from the area, and not long after, news began to spread across Auba that he had lost his life. That single incident was all it took to reopen deep wounds between the Vikings and the Black Axe. The streets of Auba once again felt the tension rise. It didn't take long before the Black Axe responded. Their first act of revenge came swiftly and decisively. A member of the Vikings, known on the streets as One Modu, was targeted and attacked at Tonimus Junction, a well-known area in the city. The news of his death spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through both groups and reigniting the hostility that everyone had hoped was gone for good. But the violence didn't stop there. The Black Axe went further, launching another retaliatory attack that took the life of another Viking member named Bestman. Bestman's death hit many people hard, especially because of the kind of person he was and the life he lived outside the confraternity world. Bestman was not just known for his past association with the Vikings. He was a fashion designer by profession and also a content creator who had built a decent reputation for himself. People described him as a hardworking young man who loved creativity and was trying to live a better life. In fact, just before his death, Bestman had become a father. His girlfriend had recently given birth to their first child, and he was said to have been returning from the hospital after visiting her and their newborn when tragedy struck. The attack happened in the Bekasi area of Auba. Eyewitnesses recalled that he had no idea he was being followed. It was clear that whoever targeted him knew exactly where and when to find him. To make matters more tragic, this was not the first time Bestman's family had been caught in the middle of this long-running feud. Back in 2020, his younger brother, who was said to be a member of a junior branch of the Vikings, had also lost his life in what was believed to be a related confrontation with the Black Axe. After that painful loss, Bestman reportedly withdrew from any court-related activity. He focused more on his fashion business, trying to build a peaceful and successful life. Unfortunately, fate had other plans. His death became a symbol of how deeply the rivalry between these two confraternities had scarred the city. People who knew him personally spoke about how he had turned a new leaf and was determined to stay away from violence, yet he still couldn't escape the shadows of his past connections. After Bestman's death, Auba once again found itself on edge. Residents began to fear what would come next. Both groups had lost members, and the cycle of revenge seemed to be starting all over again. The story of Yankee, Womodo, and Bestman painted a heartbreaking picture of a city trapped in a never-ending circle of violence, one where even those trying to rebuild their lives couldn't fully escape the consequences of old rivalries. After the painful loss of Bestman, tension in the city of Auba reached a new level. The Vikings, still filled with anger and the desire to avenge their fallen members, decided to strike back once again. Their target this time was a known member of the Black Axe, a young man whose real name was Miracle, but who was more popularly known on the streets as Melody Burger. According to reports from several sources, the Vikings believed that Miracle had played a key role in the earlier attack that claimed the life of their member, Fish, as well as other members of their group. For months, they had quietly been monitoring his movements, studying where he went and who he met with. When they finally saw an opportunity, they acted quickly and decisively. Miracle's death reopened old wounds between both confraternities, and once again, fear began to spread across Auba. But something unexpected happened after that incident, the reappearance of the mysterious group known as Black and Black. The Black and Black group, which many people in the city had come to see as an anti-cult squad, suddenly became very active again. Their focus was clear: they were determined to go after anyone involved in cult-related activities, no matter which group they belonged to. They began launching a series of surprise operations across the city, targeting individuals who were said to have been involved in violence. At first, this caused massive confusion. Whenever someone was attacked, nobody could tell who was responsible. The cult groups themselves couldn't even be sure if the attack was carried out by their rivals or by the Black and Black squad. This uncertainty created deep fear among members of both confraternities. Many began to hide or leave the city altogether. One of the key incidents that followed was the attack on a well-known Viking member called Mko. Mko had a reputation in the streets. He was known as someone who sold certain substances to users and was also allegedly involved in criminal activities such as robbery. According to reports, the Black and Black group tracked him down and took him out, sending another strong message to everyone involved in such acts that no one was untouchable. Not long after that, the Black Axe hit squad retaliated again, this time targeting a Viking member known as Ricky. Ricky was ambushed and shot, but unlike many others before him, he was lucky to survive. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where he eventually recovered from his injuries. His survival story spread around Auba and became a warning to many, showing just how dangerous and unpredictable the situation had become. As weeks passed, the Black and Black group intensified their operations. They began to locate known cult members right in their homes, sometimes even in areas previously considered safe. One after another, cult members from both the Vikings and the Black Axe fell victim to their relentless mission. It became clear that the group's main goal was to completely stop the violence that had taken over the city. The continued activities of the Black and Black group had an unexpected effect. Members of both confraternities began to live in constant fear. No one knew who would be next. Because of the confusion over who was carrying out the attacks, whether it was a rival confraternity or the Black and Black squad, most of the cultists decided to stop their operations and stay quiet. Slowly but surely, peace began to return to Auba. The loud sounds of confrontation faded away, replaced by silence and relief. People could walk freely again, and families who had been living in fear finally started to breathe easier. This entire series of events served as a powerful reminder that violence, no matter the reason behind it, only brings pain, loss, and destruction. Lives were wasted, families were broken, and a once vibrant city was thrown into chaos, all because of choices that could have been avoided. In the end, the story of what happened in Auba carries a message that every young person should hear: say no to cultism. Say no to violence and crime. Choose peace. Choose life. When we stand together for peace, we make our communities stronger, safer, and filled with hope once again.